Hello, hello, hello there. This is another episode, another exciting episode of the Job Hunt Diaries. My name is Utibe. I never left. And today we have somebody else really exciting who is here to share from her wealth of experience. I want you to just give a minute to reflect and guess who this is. I'm not sure you can get this guess right. So I'll just go right into it. And our guest today is an innovative professional operating at the intersection of people, products, processes, projects, business, and learning. She currently contributes to the success of Africa's most profitable bank as part of an award-winning learning and development team, where she focuses on upskilling staff and designing impactful learning experience that drive real growth. Guess what we have? We have no other person but Ruth Ijaola. Hi, Ruth.
Hi, today.
Such a pleasure to have you on the couch today for the Job Hunt Diary. And before I get started, if you're yet to follow us or subscribe to our channel, please subscribe to the Job Hunt Diary on YouTube and follow us across all social media channels, Instagram and TikTok preferably. Also, you might want to take a look at the last episode and then we get right into it. Hi, Ruth.
Hi,
How have you been, by the way?
Very well, thank you.
All right. So today we're going to be discussing on navigating the job market as a young professional, right? And I mean, just listening to your bio, it's really profound. I had to take just a little of everything, right? Because it's so profound. And I want us to I want us to share from your pain points, from your experiences as someone who has, navigated the job market, right? There's been times where you've been in that job application phase where you're applying for jobs and where you're getting either the rejection emails or you're getting the congratulations email. How does that make you feel?
Honestly, are we coming from the congratulations side?
Both.
All right. So, okay, let's start from when you apply, go through series of, assessments, interview stage, panel stage, and you now get so sorry, that can really, hurt you, especially when you feel that you have the skill, you have what it takes to, do this job really well. But, not every job application will be successful. Yeah. What you just need to do is to go back to the drawing board. What did you do? What can you do differently? And how can you better position yourself and negotiate better?
All right. So that leads me to my very first question, right? Yeah. So what inspired your job search? That's job search period. In the career path that you're currently in, what inspired that search? And what were your initial expectations from the job market?
Okay, first of all, what inspired my job search? Well, in Nigeria, everybody needs money, right?
But then how about the Nigerians in the diaspora? So what? I like that perspective of we need money because if we have to be realistic.
Imagine after school, leaving school, and everybody's expecting you to start to contribute your quota, And personally, for me, I've always known that I was going to be in the career space. I knew that, okay, even if I was going to do business, I would have to start, in the career space, like network my way and build the resources that I need, the people, connect with people that would obviously help me build my own business. So what inspired that job search? Like I said, first of all, I knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted to be in the career space. I wanted to be a career person. So obviously, the skills that I needed, taking myself back to what I did while I was in school, that actually helped me get my first job. I was networking with people. I volunteered. That was how I was able to hone my skills.
I feel like volunteering is underrated because volunteering really helped me actually also to start a career. And
honestly, so that was like the base, the foundation of everything, volunteering. Because as a young person, for instance, you're applying for a job and you're seeing on the application, you have to have 3 years of working experience. And you're wondering, how does a young person that just left school,
I like where you're going now.
How does a young person that just left school, how are you able to secure yourself a job that says you must have 3 years working experience? So first of all, I knew that I needed to build the skills, the underlying skills, which first of all, I expect every young person that's looking to set out to get a job to have communication skills, right? Communication is very, very important. How you're able to communicate your value, how you're able to communicate what exactly that the employer needs of you. You must, first of all, communication skill is very, very, very important.
I think communications is really like a life skill. Honestly. Because one of our episodes, our guest talked about communication skills being very important, even in assessing global opportunities. Absolutely. And then here's you talking about communication in the job application phase.
Mm-hmm. Very, very important, because I would say, first of all, even if you can't talk about, I mean, even if you can't speak like a public speaker or whatnot, communication skills, especially when you're able to communicate the value that you have to offer.
Interesting.
That's something you need to hone. Even if you're an introvert or an extrovert, you need to hone that. So what inspired that was because I needed to position myself as a young person seeking a job. And I said, okay, let me start volunteering. And I started this while I was in 300 level. I would travel as far as Abuja. I traveled to Abuja. There was a time I traveled to
For
Abuja for an
events.
event to volunteer as a project manager. Right. So that was actually got my first job as a project associate because of the experience I had as a project manager while I was in 300
I
level.
like the conversation around experience because it's it brings to my mind the classic chicken and egg thing where so you're asking how did the egg come about from the chicken? How did the chicken come about from the egg? So which one came first, right?
Yeah.
The chicken produces the egg produces chicken. So it just is a cycle that keeps going. And so
Absolutely.
when we talk about the experience, right? Your potential employers are asking you to have experience, but then the experience you need is going to be gotten from that potential employer who has refused to give you the job because you do not have the
So that's the
experience.
mistake a lot of young people are having. They're expecting to have the experience when they get into the job. But
But you
right
can
now,
start out
but you,
earlier.
yeah, so you need to start. For instance, there's some vocations, for instance, like vet medicine, and some engineering departments allow you go for IT. Yeah,
Yeah.
IT is like where you go for IT in 300 level, or when you go for
Yeah.
like
An industrial attachment to
exactly.
just,
So most of the time you're able to get that experience. But what does someone that does not have the opportunity, how can you get that opportunity? By
yeah.
volunteering your time when you on Saturdays or your weekends, you can decide to just go and say, for instance, look for a tech company that's just starting out and decide to intern or
Yeah.
decide to volunteer your time. If you know you want to hone your skill in project management, say for instance, you can decide to go be a project associate for an event planning
To be
agency.
honest, I really like how you gave that experience of traveling to Abuja because what many people, lack, I think, what many young professionals lack is that they want it to come to them. They want everything to come to them. So I can imagine that you did not necessarily get funding for your travel or your trip to Abuja. So it's part
Trust.
of your investment in
Exactly.
your career growth. But
Exactly.
imagine that you never made that investment. You wouldn't have that experience. You wouldn't have that job. So I see when people say, oh, okay, you can actually pay to get experience because you're paying to get something in return. And it doesn't have to be monetary. Sometimes you can actually pay. I mean, it comes it's just mutual. You're working to gain this experience and you're working for somebody, you're solving a problem, and then this thing comes on your portfolio. So somebody else who
Yes.
your potential employer someday sees this and you know that okay, this person is the best fit because they have done this. I mean, I
Yeah.
like how you have just really taken us through this journey because you kind of answered my next question, which was
Okay.
strategies that you have used through your job application process. And you mentioned volunteering, so which really
Yes.
leads me to now you got a job as
Yeah.
a project associate.
Yeah.
But has there been times where you had, rejections, and how did you manage that?
Of course, yes. Rejections. Okay, let me give you this example. So there
I
was
love examples like that.
right. Okay, so while I was trying to get a job, when I left school, there was this KPMG,
Yeah.
like the big fours.
Yeah.
So I didn't have ICANN, but there was just something about me that I always tell people. You don't need to wait for the opportunities to be 100% before you apply.
Yeah.
But honestly, I knew that I was not going to get this job, but I still applied anyways. I wanted to experience that feeling of, oh no, you can't get this job. And I wanted to take that experience with me to better position myself for better opportunities, right? So when I applied, I knew that, oh, I didn't have ICANN because a lot of
Yeah.
people, a lot of my friends that applied to KPMG, PwC, and the likes, they were like, oh, Ruth, you need ICANN, you need to. And I knew that, oh, I didn't want to go into the accounting space.
Yeah.
I wanted to, okay, we have project managers in
Yeah.
in the big fours.
Yeah.
How can I better position myself? So I tried, and what stood out for me is the application process.
Yeah.
It's the fact that, I was able to learn the various stages in the job application process. Like, okay, what are the things I expected of me, to land a job in the big four or land a job in this place I wanted to. Honestly, I can decide to say I don't want to work in the bank anymore. I want to go into consulting and let me go there. what have I gotten? The experience, But obviously, I was very sad about
Yeah.
it. And like I said earlier on, I love to take my failures as an opportunity to be successful
Yeah.
later on. So what I did was, okay, Ruth, what did you do wrong? How can you do something different that you get a yes? And trust me, that's what I used to get myself a job right now, like where I work at the moment. Even though I would not say 100% that what got me the job was 100% my the best strategies or whatnot. Like,
I feel like it differs,
yeah,
but
it
then
differs.
sometimes those things just have to be there.
Yeah, I would say one thing that helped me, especially when I got the yes, the first years, was the network I had.
Okay.
And this boils back to volunteering. When I was volunteering, a lot of people saw the value I had. I mean, that I was offering. And they were like, oh, Ruth, what are you doing at the moment? Have you gotten yourself a job? I'm like, no, I'm still just trying to, do one or two things. I'm like, come, I have this job offer. Can you try to apply? And like I said, I'm not someone that, if you give me a job, for instance, and I see 3 years working experience, and obviously I have none, especially in that space, what I would do is to get myself in the door.
Yeah.
Right. So I believe that when you get yourself in the door, you know the expectation.
Yeah.
So even if you don't have it 100%, you know how to go back to your drawing board to better prepare yourself for that opportunity, especially when you're fully ready for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say if you're not getting jobs right now, it's not an opportunity for you to be sad or feel depressed or whatnot. It's just for you to go back to the drawing board and say, oh, Ruth, or oh, John, what are you doing different? What can you do differently? Is there something you are not doing well? Are you not communicating your value well? Because sometimes we have amazing, talented people.
But we're not communicating it well.
Exactly. We're not communicating, especially right now, because I'm in the HR space and I really see a lot of applications. We have amazing, talented people. And what's stopping, I am I'm the interviewer rather. I'm not going to like put myself in your heart or in your mind and tell me and say, oh, you're good. I need to hear you talk about it. I need to hear the value that you have to offer before I even tell you to demonstrate it.
Yeah.
Because if I tell you, oh, I need you to demonstrate this, I love what you do. I love the fact that you're able to communicate this well. Okay, by next week, would schedule you for another interview to demonstrate this. Even if you don't know Jack, trust me, you can go back. We have YouTube.
Yeah.
You can go check on how better to like put your portfolio out there.
Yeah.
So it's starting from confidence, putting yourself out there strategically,
Yeah.
and communicating the value that you have to offer.
You have to offer. Right, thank you so much, Ruth. I mean, that's really, really profound. So what skills and qualifications do you think that, must be highlighted in every job application?
Okay.
What will I do wrong if I leave out this skill? I'm sure that if I leave out some skills, it will cost me something.
Okay.
But there's something that happens where I see on LinkedIn every day and recruiters are saying they're tired of seeing problem solving. They're tired of seeing. So what do you want me to put?
Okay.
So, what's that skill that I must communicate and that I must highlight in my application?
Okay, so when we talk about skills, there are two different types of skills. We have the hard skills and
soft
the
skills.
soft skills. So when you're also, everything boils down to what exactly are you applying for?
Okay.
For instance, you're applying for a technical role, a project manager, or say a software developer. You don't expect, for instance, the HR professional that put out the application for, say, for instance, a software developer. Obviously, the person is expecting more of your technical skills. Okay. Even though sometimes I still say, for technical guys, you still need to have a bit of soft skills like communication, interpersonal relationship, because that's what I feel like some of them are lacking right now. Some of them have the technical prowess, but they are lacking the soft skills, which is communication, interpersonal relationship. So as a software developer, what are the technical skills that you know that will be needed for the job? Check the application, check the things that your employer is expecting. The skills that you know that would help you. For instance, if on the application they say, "Oh, can you?" Let me use a project manager because I'm not more of a software developer. For instance, a project manager, they're saying that you must be able to use Jira.
Yeah.
Right? You must be able to, or you must have PMP, or they're saying you must have communication skills, leadership skills. Right? Those are soft skills, but the technical skill is Jira, because obviously you have to manage people on your team, cross-functional team. So they want to see someone that can obviously someone that is competent in using Jira. So on your application, you want to highlight Jira. You can't be highlighting I'm proficient in Microsoft Excel,
Oh my god, that's a
PowerPoint.
straight bullet that's going to somebody
No,
somewhere now.
really. Because sometimes what we see in job application is, I would say copy and paste, because most of the time you're seeing I'm proficient in Microsoft Excel, Word. What what are the skills? I
That
mean,
is
that
relevant
is
to that.
relevant for that task.
Yeah.
Right? I want to see that you're competent in using Jira, or you're competent in using Microsoft projects.
So more like a balance of the soft skills and the
Exactly.
technical
For soft
skills.
skills, for management, or as a project manager, you need to have a lot of soft skills, because you're managing people
Yeah,
and
true.
resources,
True.
right? You want to understand the template, or the for instance, template documentation. What are the documentation templates that you need to be able to manage people, manage projects? Or a
Yeah.
product manager, they're saying you must have a very good knowledge of SQL for
Yeah.
data and all of that. And you're wondering, what is that? Or they say you must have competency in using user stories, or documenting user stories and whatnot. Or even the software applications that you need to manage your job. Those are the technical skills. Those are the things that they're expecting. Sometimes it's not about the plenty English you put on your stick. People want to see how you're able to apply these
Yeah.
tools, especially if it's a technical role.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ruth. Right. So let's get this conversation into the point where we're discussing how you stay through prolonged job search, right?
Okay.
So you apply for this job, and by the way, there's this thing recruiters do. Thank
Okay.
God you're here. I'm going to say it to you.
Okay.
We apply for jobs. People apply for jobs, and then they don't give any feedback. They don't say anything. So it's 1 month of waiting, 1 month of silence, and you don't know at what point to give up. You don't know if you should even keep waiting, you should keep waiting, or just hoping for the job. So, but then apart from that, what do you do now from the recruiter's point of view? I want you to really speak to that. Why? I mean, I feel like that there's a need to change that,
Okay.
right? So people get feedback as much as unfortunately, as much as sad as it can be, is as important as ghosting, the
Yeah.
candidate.
Yeah.
But what do you do to stay through a prolonged job search?
Okay, so first of all, I'm coming from the angle of the HR
Yeah.
practitioner, right? It's very bad. That's actually not best practice,
Yeah.
right? To ghost an applicant, because even as a person,
People take a lot of time to apply for a
right?
job.
Okay, so it depends on the industry. For instance, the financial industry, there are series of job applicant people. Like you need to see the data.
But how about automation?
Of course, that's a very good point, right? But there are a series of applicants, right? So I would not also want to say that what they are doing is right. Like I said, it's not job best practice,
Yeah.
right? For you to ghost an applicant, the least you can do is to even have an automation system that just says, "Oh, so
Yeah.
sorry, blah blah blah." After your CV has been, yanked off the system
So
and all
sad.
of that, right? But I would also come in from the aspect of a job seeker. Giving an example again, what I did differently was the time I was applying. I think I did that last year, even though I didn't take the job because I didn't like the pay they were giving me. But I just wanted to see how good I am in the job market. Because, say, for instance, the bank decides to lay me off. I want to see the
Yeah.
fact that that's
You're
something.
relevant.
Yeah, and I want to see
I
how
think that's
relevant
genius
I am.
because not
every
everybody-
6 every
Yeah.
6 months, I usually tell my friends that try and put yourself out there, put yourself in the job market. Let's just see if your CV is still going to land you a job. Right, just to see how good you are. I'm not saying leave your job, but I'm just saying just try to test the waters. See if you're still a very good applicant, or you're still someone that someone can
There's
take.
something you can work on.
Yeah. So going back to the job seeker, when you're not getting a response from an employer or someone you're trying to somewhere you're trying to get into, there's something called being proactive, right?
Interesting.
That's what I did. So when I applied, after 3 months, I was not seeing response. I usually check my mail. It's not even the fact that I'm a corporate person. I love to check my mails. I also see maybe new updates. So I was just wondering,
Yeah.
why has this person not sent me, or has this organization not sent me feedback? So I reached out to the HR person on LinkedIn first. I said, "Hi, I applied to your job, yada yada yada," and they were like, "Oh, so sorry. Yeah, this person should have gotten back to you. We thought he did." Yada yada yada. I'm like, "Okay, yes, I just wanted to know the updates. What's the feedback of my application?" They were like, "Okay, yes, you got the job," but they were looking at the pay and everything. They're just trying to get some things, Just imagine I had not reached out.
Yeah.
So you might not even
And that's
understand.
after 3 months.
I'm serious, just after 3 months. And I was like,
Interesting.
okay, what happened? Why didn't you reach out? They were like, okay, they were just trying to do back and forth and all of that. See who they can still try to put in. I understand the pay. They felt like, oh, the pay might not suit me. Obviously, it didn't suit me. But I wanted to check in and say, what exactly is going on? Is it that they forgot or what happened in the system? Then they had to tell me this. But I'm just saying that what if you
You
could have
never reached out.
managed that pay?
Yeah.
Right? So as a job seeker, you need to obviously check in on your applications. You never can tell what's, because it's a system managed by people. There are some organizations that don't have automated systems, like you
Yeah.
said. But in the banking system, what I usually say is, in the banking system, if you don't get a response after 3 months, never say never, because there's something, what we do is to shuffle. Sometimes we might not need something urgent or somebody urgent, and we like check the database and we reach out. And sometimes this process takes time. That's why we also need more processes, more systems in place to make sure that we take all of this back and forth.
And
like
perhaps you also
said.
need more people.
Yeah. But you're talking about automation. We
Yeah.
would not be needing more
True.
people,
True.
right? But obviously, the system is still really archaic in some organizations. We need to do better. But at the same time, as a job seeker, keep putting yourself out there, ask questions, talk to people on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Continue to connect with more people. You don't also rely on that job application.
I think that's one mistake that I find very interesting. So you apply for one job and you're waiting years to hear from them.
When some people apply like 10, some people, you hear stories that people apply like to 100 organizations.
I mean, your application you could have fallen anywhere.
Exactly.
So apply 10 in a day, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is it. And it actually takes a lot of time. So that's perhaps the reason why we don't have people wanting to put themselves out as often as they should, because I took an hour to put this out there. Let me rest. Let me take a deep breath. And then you're waiting 2 months, right?
Yeah.
So have you faced any, unique challenges in the job market as a young professional? How did you navigate them?
Okay, a unique challenge. First of all, is the ghosting part. I would say is a major issue.
You were ghosted.
Yeah, I've
Tell
been
us about
ghosted
it.
before.
Apart from this one where
I've been ghosted before. Obviously, McKinsey. I applied to McKinsey.
So you're very bold, and I love that.
I said earlier, I'm someone that I put myself out there. I don't care because honestly, maybe because I mean around people that are very audacious.
Yeah.
They're very audacious, and they obviously. I'm not saying you are audacious and you don't have value. That's a different story. But that you have the value, but you're just scared that what if I'm not taking, that imposter syndrome tries to come in, and you feel like, oh, what if I'm not?
Yeah.
You're seeing application, you're seeing 5 years or 10 years experience, and you feel like, oh, I have what it takes. I should be given a chance, right? So sometimes, obviously, you get rejections and be like for instance, all these organizations that are big, like high up there and all of that, like McKinsey, like I said, till today, I've not gotten a response. Right.
Oops.
And it was really heartbreaking because I felt like, okay, I was in a point in my career that I wanted to do something bigger. And I'm someone that I don't like to stay in an organization for too long. I don't know, maybe as a Gen Z, that's just what comes with the
I like this now, Gen Z. We're going to be having another episode around Gen Zs in the workplace, and I look forward to it.
Honestly, maybe because of the kind of person I am, I really like to challenge myself. Once I've stayed in an organization for like 3 years, I'm always looking like, okay, what next? That's
your
why
Gen Z is fair, no, because there's Gen Z that 6 months, 2 months.
That's not
a month.
nice. Honestly, I would say that's not nice. I would say that's not nice because, and as an employer, they want to see loyalty. Aside from the fact that they want to see someone that can stand the test of time. 3 years is okay. 6 months, I feel like, in my own opinion, though, I feel like it's a little why are you hopping from one place to another? If you ask, it's the money.
So does that ever affect, your choice of candidates when you see a candidate who
Yes,
has...
it does. It does, because especially in the financial industry, they want to understand, why are you hopping? Like, what's the problem? Are you doing something wrong? Were
you laid off?
Exactly. Aside from the fact that you're even laid off, they want to understand why you leaving. What gives us the confidence that once we exactly, and people don't want to waste their money. We're talking of training, we're talking of onboarding, the cost that comes with all of those. That's why when in the HR space, there's something called retention. If they're not able to retain the staff, you're wondering, do you know the number of the amount of time, the costs, the resources that they've invested in you, and you say you want to leave? That's why there's a contractual agreement for, like, some banks do 3 3 years. So
Interesting.
2 years, I mean, 2 years. Stay here and give us value. I don't want to employ you and in the next 6 months you are going. Where are you going to?
Ah,
Right? So basically, I just want to I really want to employ people, especially young people. Try and I'm not saying stay for 10 years, but at least stay 2 years, okay. Learn the ropes, get the skills that you need to get, and you can leave. But 6 months, even on your CV, it's not looking nice. You're not going to be an attractive
candidates.
candidate to employers because people are not seeing loyalty. That's one of the I would say underlining value that most employers want to, see in their
Yeah.
candidates. They want to see how far you're willing
Yeah.
to go, with an organization. Not that we employ you and in the next 2 months you're leaving.
You're leaving.
Yeah.
So, what role do you think networking plays in a job application process? Have you? And I want to tackle this from from networking vertically and horizontally,
Horizontally.
because I know that when people pay so much attention to networking horizontally, and then they pay less attention to your
Their
peers.
peers.
Have there been any time where somebody in your age group, from your network of friends, from your school, did they ever influence your application, your landing a job? And if that has never happened to you, do you know of any cases as such? And so, what role really does networking play in landing a job?
Absolutely. Networking plays a huge role because most of the time, most of the job opportunities I get to see come from the network of people. And I'm talking people around me, my peers. I have a community of, like, I call audacious community that I currently like convene. Most of the time people just post opportunities like every day. Oh, hi, apply to this, hi, apply to that, this grants, this there. And most of these opportunities come from friends, like friends, literally
Yeah.
our age groups. And you're wondering, how are people getting big high-end jobs? Most of the time when you ask them, they're like, oh, I got referred by somebody close to
Yeah.
me. Most of the time you're not hearing, oh, I dropped my CV there. That's not how we are operating right now, especially in our generation. Most of the opportunities that come with the network of people that you have. So that begs the question, who do you have in your space? So answering your question, the first opportunity I got as a project associate came from a friend that saw this role. I'm like, oh, Ruth. And this came before I went for my NYC, the compulsory youth service stuff. And I didn't want to apply at first. I'm like, this might be a scam or something. I'm like, apply and all of that. Interestingly, when I came for the interview and all of that, the guy was like, oh, I've heard so much about you.
Interesting.
Sometimes I'm like, that's what I hear most of the time when I get to go for interviews. Like, oh,
Ruth,
yeah,
I've
Ruth,
heard so much
I've heard
about you.
so much about you, right? And obviously, that's because I gave a lot of value. I was obviously not a useless friend, right? I was not someone that was just, yeah, I
I'm
was
asking
valuable
myself
to my
already. You know,
friends.
my valuable too.
Exactly, because when the people see that you're valuable and they refer you, they don't want people to start coming to them and say, that person that you referred, that person
Sure.
is so useless to
Sure.
me, right? And obviously, the story is different for me because they're like, oh, she's been really, really amazing. I love what she's doing and how much value she has added to our organization. And obviously, I had to leave because I was going for my NYC and all of that. So that's not the only experience I've had. For my friends, even, okay, for the job I'm currently in, I got it from a family member that obviously had a network of HR professionals around that space. And she was like, oh, this opportunity, Ruth, apply for it. It's something that I feel like you can do. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Obviously, like I said, I was valuable. I had the skills, I had the resources. When I mean resources, I had like the network of people that were able to like help me, guide me,
Yeah.
especially for my interview process and all of that, because it was new to me at the time, right? And she was able to like groom me and she was like, okay, do this, do that. And so I got in. So
Awesome.
for instance, when I started this own volunteering thing, I said something. I said I was able to network with people. The people that you network with, you don't, most times when you go for events, we don't just go to meet them and be like, oh, can I take a picture? Because that's what most people do when they go for an event and they like see somebody like is big eye there and they're like, oh, hi.
So it's for the gram and it's not for
It's
your.
exactly. You're just like, where are you at the moment? Where are you in your job application process? Do you need are you in a transition phase, or you're an
Yeah.
entry level and you just want to come into the job market? So you should try to position yourself and see how that person you're trying to connect with will add value to you, even as much as you obviously would want to add value, right? So this opportunity I got from a family friend, she was able to refer me because she saw the value I've added to her, right? I helped her with social media and all of those things. And she was like, oh, Ruth, this is something that I feel like if you put your mind to it, you can do much more. And that's how the opportunity, came to me. So where are you in your job application process? Are you in the transition phase? Are you an entry level, coming into the corporate space? Try to, LinkedIn is there. It's a social media. It's a professional environment for people to network professionally. Try and locate people that are currently in that space that you are, especially in
space.
industry you're trying to come into. Are you trying to come into the financial space,
Yeah.
right? Are you going into the event space or the tech space? Locate somebody that is doing something that you want to do.
So this really just brings to my mind how people sometimes mistake networking for fun moments, right? So you
It's not
see,
it.
so you are at an event, somebody who should be valuable to your career growth, and instead of networking and establishing a relationship with that person, you rather go for your celebrity, designer, celebrity, whatever. And while all of those things are nice, priority really, right? I think it's at the point where we talk about priorities. So you're not just there for the pictures, for the gram, but you're there to advance yourself in the career ladder. So we're beginning to wrap this up, Ruth, right? And
Yeah.
it's been very insightful and very exciting too. So you said something around how we talked about when you apply for jobs
Yeah.
and the moment you stay, I mean the waiting period, I like to call it that, right?
Yeah.
So how much do you, and sometimes we said that's really what contributes to that is the time, the energy people put into this application, so they don't spread. I mean, instead of applying for 10 jobs, you apply for one and you get tired and you rest and you're
but
waiting for that
success does
one,
not
right?
come that way.
It doesn't come that way.
Yeah.
So how do you manage your time and your energy while applying for jobs? I mean, I'm sure you're juggling other things.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're already employed. Sometimes you're juggling other things, life issues. How do you manage time, energy, resources to get going?
Okay, I will ask this question: how bad do you want it? Like, how bad do you want it?
How bad do you want it?
Like, for instance, you're applying for just, you want to get a job and you're applying for just one job in a day. You can't get it.
When you're not the only person in the job market.
Like, you need to apply, like, spread your wings, right? So your question, what do you do in that waiting period? Continue to upskill yourself. I'm currently employed, but trust me, I have series of certifications I'm currently doing. I have like exams I'm currently doing, just because I don't see myself here forever. And I know the next opportunity obviously is expecting the most improved version of myself, not the Ruth of now. I need to obviously add value to myself, certifications, skill courses, take courses, build my portfolio. Because the next opportunity obviously begs for the most improved version of myself. So that also applies to anybody trying to get a job and you're currently not getting one at the moment.
So how do you balance your time and energy in this period?
That's it. Are you obviously not, if you don't have a job at the moment, you can utilize that time that you have, because you have obviously a lot of time if you
actively search.
actively search. But I'm not even also searching, say search. Are you also building your portfolio? Because obviously we have tech guys that will be listening to this. Most of the time you're applying, but you're not also adding value to your own self by building your portfolio. Because sometimes this employer, they don't want to see your CV alone. They want to see your portfolio. What have you done? How are you adding value to projects that, for instance, you can just gather your friends and be like, oh, let's build something, right?
Yeah.
It might just be a pro bono job. Just let's build something. Let's start something. And that could be something that will propel you to the next opportunity that you're expecting.
True.
So if you're currently, obviously, you have a job and you still want to get maybe a better offer or something, it's still the same thing. Offer yourself free. Like, build something with other people. Do pro
That means
bono
you're going to
jobs.
have to create a lot of time from your busy schedule. to
Exactly,
be able
because
to-
I said it earlier. How bad do you want it? Because the next opportunity also is expecting like an improved version of yourself, and you know what to say. Oh, because I'm currently working, I don't have the time. Your Saturdays are there, your weekends are there. If you don't have your weekends, you can do a virtual meetup with somebody. Just find a community of friends that you can build something together that can better improve yourself.
Wait, so let's make this a little more practical.
Yeah.
Has there been a time where you were currently in a job,
Yeah.
and then you were still searching?
Okay.
You used your Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, were that time, how did you manage the weekdays and the weekends?
Okay, so I would not say it was 100% like a bed of
Because
roses for
living
me.
in Lagos or
It's
living
not
in New
easy.
York, living in any busy
It's
city,
not
right?
easy, right? It's not easy. But obviously, this is where strategy comes in, right? I've not actively said I was looking for a job and I was working, and I don't have that experience. But I have a friend. She's currently working, but she's in a transition phase.
Yeah.
Like she wants to transition into a product manager, and she's currently in the HR space, right? So obviously, HR product manager, worlds apart, right? But there's this thing I call transferable skills that you can get
Yeah.
from whatever you're doing at the moment,
Sure.
and use it to position yourself to get this job.
Yeah.
She doesn't have an experience as a product manager, but she currently interns as an a project associate in an event company. And the event industry is just like building a team of people. You're managing people to get something done. Basically, I feel like that's what products or project management is about. Managing people, the resources within your purview, and establishing results. That's what people see as apps and all of that. So you can look for, say for instance, something related to what exactly you're currently looking at. Try to build skills. Look at the skills that you currently have at the moment. So when you're trying to apply, structure your CV to highlight what you currently are doing. So you're hearing somebody in HR space transition into product manager got the job, but you're asking yourself how? How are you able to do it? And you're in HR, you're actively working, right? You don't have the time. But what did the person do differently? It was strategy. She leveraged the skills that she already has in HR space. She leveraged it to connect and position, communicate the value that she can offer.
In product
And
management.
also you can also take courses. We have Coursera, right? We have LinkedIn. You can take courses on LinkedIn. Try to obviously put yourself out there as well. Build your personal brand. Let people see you.
Sure.
Right.
Thank you so much.
I feel like those are the strategies that can help you.
Thank you.
you
So
know.
if you're going to sum everything up, because I can't, anyone who is going through the job application process now or that stage is going through not such an easy time, because it can be very overwhelming.
Yeah.
The waiting period can also be very overwhelming, emotionally demanding.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're going to give any advice, one word to people in this phase, especially entry levels and those switching career switchers from other industries into the tech industries, what would that word be? What would that advice be for entry levels from the HR perspective?
Okay, so what I would say is, like you said, it's not easy. I understand the emotional what's the word?
Demands.
Yeah, that can come with waiting for something and it's not looking like it's coming. Like I said before, just keep pushing yourself. If there's something I usually tell myself, I don't want to be the next day, I have to be different. I have to be a different person.
Sure.
So continue to add value to yourself. You never can tell the opportunity that will come down will demand that skill that you've added to yourself, that opportunity that would demand that from you. So you don't sit down there and wallow and stay in self-pity and expect that those things will come to you. You have, like I said before, how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
Put yourself out there. Be a part of what people are doing. Volunteer. Put yourself on social media. Let people see what you're doing. You can build in public. Right?
Yeah,
let
building
people
in
see
public.
exactly what you're doing. So that way people can obviously see you and connect with you.
Thank you so much, Ruth. It's been very delightful having Ruth on our couch today. I mean, she's been sharing her story, her experiences from the job application, phase of life, to landing a job, to switching careers, to volunteering, and a whole lot more. This episode has been very insightful. And if you're going through this phase in life while you're trying to juggle different jobs or trying to land that first job, I think one thing that we'll really take out from here is create the time. How bad do you want it? Ruth said that, and I'm living with that. How bad do you want it? How badly do you want it? If you really want it, you create the time for it, you invest in it, and take this, build in public, get that portfolio out. And of course, the job is just right there waiting for you. Ruth, it was a pleasure hosting you today.
Likewise,
Looking
enjoyed
forward
myself.
to so many other times and the amazing things that you're going to do in
Thank
your
you.
industry.
Thank
you once
you.
again.